Oh shoot, guys, I messed up. If you've watched my videos before, you know I normally have my car parked right about there, but I kind of messed up. I was driving home the other day in traffic, you know, stop and go traffic, but as traffic kind of started to just pick up, my speed increased. I was in like 3rd and 4th gear, but the car in front of me just suddenly came to like an immediate stop, and I thought I was gonna be good. I was like, okay, no big deal, I'm just gonna like put the brakes on. It's gonna be close, but you know, it's fine. But I put the brakes on, you know, my clutch is in, now I'm in neutral, and I realized like I'm getting pretty freaking close. This is not good. So I'm like slammed down on the brakes, the pedal is on the floor now, and my back tires start skidding. I swear, I've never had that issue before of like having my tires cutting loose in any circumstance. So there I am skidding, now I'm going, I don't know, like 30 miles an hour, and I go bam, straight into this guy's back bumper. And I know I'm laughing about it now because it's like after the fact. Nobody was hurt, you know, his car was fine, you know, there was no issues there, but now I kind of have to deal with this crap and, you know, deal with the crap of not having a car. So my mom came in clutch, just using the mom mobile today. And I appreciate my mom, she's the best. She's always been super helpful. But now I kind of have to deal with this issue with my car. It's at the body shop right now. Had some damage done to like the front upper bumper. The radiator's like trashed, and the bottom valance is kind of cracked and stuff too. I'm hoping that, you know, I can get it up and running here pretty quick, but it'll probably be a week or two. Kind of bummed, but you know, that's life. I mean, as I think about this more and more, it kind of makes sense that this is happening, because I'm the type of person who very well identifies with the car that he drives. Like, I feel like the Lord is asking me right now, like, alright Cody, like, what's your deal? Are you identifying more as a child of God, or more as somebody who drives a 944? And I know that my identity in Christ lasts forever, whereas the 944 thing, it's temporary. Obviously, as you can see, because like, I'm in a CRV right now. And so while I hate all of this that's happening right now, I don't like the situation that I'm in, I'm still recognizing this kind of as an opportunity here to kind of reset my identity in Christ, to grow in my character, and to grow in my faith. All right, enough of that. Let's ride the skate park. Alright, so here's what we got going on. I have 2 scooters right now. You saw me build this, my first ever street custom build, and then I have my regular setup right there. Today I want to test the 2. I want to see which one I like better, which facets of the street scooter and which facets of my park scooter I like the most, and compare the 2. So how I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna break it down into 3 categories. The first is gonna be skate park, so just like ramps, banks, pretty much everything that you see here. That one's gonna be super fun because that's kind of like more in kind to my riding style. The second is gonna be ledges, rails, stair sets, hubbas, stuff like that. And then the third is gonna be flat ground. You guys know I love learning new flat tricks, kind of like pushing myself there because it requires so much strength and energy, but I still love it. So let's get into this. I'm gonna put the GoPro on. I'm gonna be riding my park setup first on the skate park. So with quarter pipes, banks, you're gonna be seeing a lot of overhead tricks, a lot of tail whips, maybe some kicklesses, flares, stuff like that. So let's get into it. Ooh yeah, honestly I love this park and I love this scooter. Can't wait to get some more. I'm gonna start off with 3 trick line. I'm gonna do heel finger rewind, front butter, and then flip. Oh. Man, I love this scooter. So far, you've been seeing me do a ton of tail whips and a ton of overhead scooter flips, which is one of my favorite parts about this scooter actually. Since it's so lightweight and so fluid with every single motion that I put it through, I'm able to perform my tricks fast enough and high enough to where I can catch it and roll away smoothly. Let's go do some flips, go upside down, see how it feels. Okay, cool. I'm gonna start things off with a flare tail whip. right, next up, let's do flare bar slip. There's something about riding with the scooter, doing flare combos. It works just like perfectly. All right, let's step it up again, do flare triple whip. Perfect. All right. I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, it's been obvious to me for the past however long I've had this scooter that this setup is absolutely perfect for doing any sort of park trick. The weight, the dimensions, and like the weight distribution of this very scooter, I think is the perfect example of what a park scooter should be. Of course, this is just fit to my style, so it's kind of my preference, my opinion. Everybody has different styles, but for the tricks that I do, the fly flares, the front buttercups, the flip drops, whatever trick that you normally see me do, I think that this setup is perfect for that. Alright, so that's enough of this scooter on the park section of this video. Let's move on to the street setup and ride it on the same very ramps that I was just riding with the scooter. Alright, so since these are completely different setups, this one's really light, this one's fairly heavy. I'm not going to be doing the exact same tricks as I did on the park setup with the street setup, but I'll do the same lines so that way I get a feel of which area each scooter is most proficient at. Definitely different. Just going from that one to this one, there's definitely some difference. When I pulled off on the flip, I forgot that my back wheel is sitting like an inch and a half farther back than it normally does, so when I snapped, it was a bit delayed. That felt like it took an hour to get that front scooter out. Okay, so as suspected, this beast is way harder to do overhead scooter flips as it is to do it on my park setup. Doesn't mean it's bad, it just takes longer. When I did bar and then when I did triple heel, I felt like I had a lot of stability. When I was catching my tricks and then rolling back into the ramp, I felt like there was less of a chance of me to loop out because the deck was so long. And also, I was able to straighten out my body a bit more because my bars were taller, so that's a benefit. So overall, so far with overhead tricks and whip tricks, this setup's doing pretty good. It's not like A1 for my particular riding style, but it's pretty good. So now let's move on to doing some flips. Oh, it feels so different. Okay, this is definitely different. Flare combos on a 21.5 long deck. Not exactly my cup of tea, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it does feel just so good flowing around the park on this scooter. So now we're gonna move on to the next section of this video, and that's gonna be ledges and rails. I'm gonna be riding my park setup on that one first, and as anybody knows who has ever seen me ride before, rails and ledges aren't necessarily my cup of tea. I mean, I'm a park rider. I love big ramps, I love half pipes, quarter pipes, whatever you got, I'm there. Ledges and rails, on the other hand, I spend a little bit less time working on those, so it will be more of a short segment. That's my prediction anyway. All right, first things first, let's hit this rail. I know it looks big, it kind of like looks a little intimidating, and you're probably thinking, what, Cody, you just said that you're not that good at rails. Well, here's the thing. This rail is so low to the ground, right when you hop onto it, it's basically just like you're riding a regular flat bar. The length of it is, yeah, it's pretty long, but again, it's so low, so fast, it'll be over in like a heartbeat. Bam, there it is.
Somewhere unseen, it got a little longer, so it seems. I bring down, so to speak. Come a little closer.
I think that's gonna wrap up the street portion or the ledge and rail portion of this video with the park setup. Where is it? It's right there. With the park setup, I'm gonna hop onto my Evo setup or my street setup and see how it feels. All right, same deal. We're starting on this big rail. Just gonna do backside board slides. Let's get this. Oh, what? There it is. Okay, so right when I hopped onto every single rail that I just did now, I felt planted on the rail. Not like I wasn't sliding or anything like that. Planted as in stable. Dude, I felt like that skidder was going nowhere. I was staying on top of that rail if it was the last thing that I did. I think it has to do with the weight of the setup, for one, and also it has to do with the size and the weight distribution of the deck. However you want to put it, grinding rails on this setup, let's say for like a longer duration of time, is definitely better than doing it on my park setup. All that to say though, I still wasn't able to perform the trick list that I wanted to do at the same rate that I did it on the park setup. Like that board slide to finger whip, it took me 3 tries. On the park setup, it only took me 1. The reason for that was obviously because that setup's way lighter than this one. It's something that I'm not used to, that type of weight. Of course, if I just rode the scooter for more, I'd land board slide finger first go, every go. But for the time being right now, since this is like different, I'm just gonna say that combos on and off rails is easier on my park setup than it is on my street setup. All right, let's get on to the last portion of this section. Gonna do front feeble, back 270 off. Got it. I'm not gonna lie, I felt like I was gonna lose it there for a second, but somehow I just stayed locked in. I like that. Same trick, different direction. Oh yeah. All right, front 50 bar spin. I hate that trick, but I did it. I have a little bit more width on this deck. For what it's worth, I like it. However, still can't tell that much of a difference besides the shape of the deck. Oh, I missed that one. I was talking too much. Hang on. Oh man, that one's so much easier to 50 on. Yo, what the heck? This setup, this deck particularly, doing 50-50s, so good. I don't know if it's the extra 0.2 inches of space that I have on the width of the deck or the kind of shaper features that this deck has, but whatever the case is, this deck, this scooter feels way better on 50s than my park setup. So this scooter is for sure taking the W on ledge tricks all around. All right, now moving on to the last section of this video. Flat ground. You guys know I love my flat ground, and I'm pretty stoked to try some of the tricks that I normally do on like my park setup with the Evo setup flat, like triple heel and like bride flip, stuff like that. I'm not gonna be doing too much though. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a day. I waited a day to film this portion of the video. Yesterday, I kind of worked out like pretty freaking hard, and dude, I'm sore, I'm tired, and if I'm completely honest with you, I don't really want to be riding right now. You know, sometimes your body's just fatigued, I need a break. But nevertheless, I want to film this portion of the video, get in a couple tricks, and then I'm going to call it quits. Alright, so here's what we're working with. I'm going to be sticking to 4 tricks that I want to do on my scooter as well as the street setup. I'm going to do bride flip, trip whip, finger whip, and triple heel, which is my personal favorite. Let's get into this. Alrighty, first one out, let's do bride flip. Okay, I know I said triple heel is actually my personal favorite, but to be quite honest with you, I think bride flip might be my personal favorite. It's just a fun trick. All right, I'm gonna do this a bit different. I'm switching back and forth between scooters. Let's get this. Oh, it's so much harder on this, but it's not like too hard to where I'm struggling to get the formation of the trick around. Okay, next one is the triple whip. Let's get this. I don't know if you guys remember this, but anybody who's followed my channel for many years now will remember my flatland trick challenge where I was trying to learn triple whip. This was about 4 years ago, and I was struggling. Like, no joke, I think I spent probably the better half of 2 hours trying to land that trick, or at least in my memory, it feels like it was 2 hours, and I never actually got it. But as time went on, got a bit stronger. I got better at triple whips too, now I can do them. Oh, it's different on this one, but still works. There we go. I think it's only appropriate that this scooter isn't dialed and this one is dialed, because that very well resembles like park riders, street riders, you feel me? All right, next one up, let's get this finger whip going. Dude, I feel like I could add a bar to the end of that. What do you think? Oh my gosh. Okay, today's probably not the day to be trying to learn a new flat trick, but no doubt, I think that finger whip bar flat is totally doable. Let's get finger whip on this beast. Oh shoot, that's the first one I've done. That's so much more effort on this one compared to my park setup. Alrighty, here we go. Last trick, triple heel flat. Let's get this done. All right, let's hop on this scoot. Oh, dude, that's my first ever triple heel on this setup. Let's see if I can do it again. Oh my word. I did it. Phew. All right, that concludes this video. These scooters are like the perfect yin yang for my riding style. And while I know this is probably expected, my favorite out of these two scooters is my park setup. That's the setup that I ride literally like every single day, except for like some days when I'm just like too tired to ride. And the reason I have it built the way it is because I find that it is the perfect middle ground for a park setup as well as a street setup. It's not necessarily like too big, and it's not necessarily like too small either. It's just right, and that's why I love it. So if you guys want to cop any of the parts that you saw in this video, I'm going to put a link in the description to the Vault Pro scooters. You can use my code FLO, F-L-O, to save 10% when you're buying any of these parts. If you guys want to see more videos like this, maybe comparison videos or more flat ground riding videos, leave a like and shoot me a message on Instagram as well. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. See you next week, 12 p.m. Sunday. Deuces.